Welcome back to the Professional Lovers channel. I'm Al.
I'm Patty, and we are here to talk about episode 3 of season 16 of Married at First Sight. So, if you're one of our subscribers or you've watched this before, you know that we look at relationship issues through the lens of Married at First Sight.
Welcome to the Professional Lovers.
So, we enjoy facilitating marriages and relationships, and we've been married for 29 years. Mm-hmm. And a lot of what these couples go through, we have been through, just in a more traditional
to some
way.
degree, yeah.
Yeah, so.
And some things we don't let happen because it ain't necessary to let it happen.
Or we may have let it happen once and discovered that that didn't need to happen again.
Because we were kind of arranged too.
Yeah, you could say that.
Kind of.
But I saw him before I said anything.
True.
Yeah.
And I saw her.
Yeah. And so apparently we liked what we saw because we're together.
Yes.
But that wasn't the biggest deal. But anyway, enough about us. Let's go on and talk about the couples, because the last two couples got married in this season, in this episode. Jasmine and Eris and Dominique and McKinley got married.
Or McKinley or McKinley.
Oh,
Something. If you saw the show, you understand.
Exactly. She got it right toward the end, though.
Eventually.
So we'll start with Jasmine and Eris. Of course, Eris was the groom with the cousin who was just like,
I don't know why you doing this.
You can still walk away. You don't have to go through with it. And he was like, do you have
anything
positive? Anything.
I mean, he was looking for energy to, somebody to support him through this situation.
Right.
And that was kind of his ride or die cousin. And she was like, yeah, hey, I mean, call right outside. And he was like, come on, I'm doing this.
She wasn't feeling it at all. But when he asked, do you have anything positive to say? She came up with a little bit.
A little bit.
It
was generic.
Stick by her. Be committed to what you say you're doing, which is getting married. So be committed to it. Okay. So when Jasmine walked down the aisle, she was very happy, very impressed with what she saw, thought that he was attractive. The funniest thing, though, is when they started talking after they were actually married, right? They started talking, and first he found out she had 4 dogs.
Yeah.
Like, and as the night wore on,
found out she had more than 4 dogs.
Because she had, 9 puppies.
She got 13 dogs.
His face was like, you have got to be kidding me. Man. We are running a kennel. And for someone who's never had a pet or doesn't have pets.
And accustomed to his own space and, just freedom and...
I was with him on that one. 13 dogs. Wow. So, that kind of, his face was like...
Like, getting to know you.
Yeah. So, but anyway... All of the couples we saw talking to, meeting the other family, meeting the spouses' families and friends, and talking to the bridesmaids and the grooms and trying to find out some stuff. And we've seen how that has kind of backfired and worked negatively in some cases. Last night's episode, not so much. Everybody was kind of,
They were supportive of who they were there for.
Exactly. Except at one point when Eris was talking to Jasmine's sisters. And first I asked, about him. And he did admit that he, as an only child, he...
Somewhat of a mama's boy.
Somewhat spoiled.
Yeah.
And...
He's been a loner. He's an only child.
And used to his own space.
Used to his freedom.
Because he's never been in a
well, he considers
serious relationship.
Yeah.
But we know that he is a reformed player. Right. So he's never been in a serious relationship, never lived with anyone. So, that...
This is an adjustment.
It's going to be a huge adjustment.
Huge.
And for me, those are kind of all red flags.
But the boy 39 years old.
There you go. That's the biggest red flag. You're 39.
It's time. I mean, it may have been time, but now he's committed to it. He's admitting to it.
39, and you haven't been in a serious relationship.
He said he's a self-proclaimed player, and he's giving up his player card.
Scary.
At one time or another, okay?
A little scary. A little scary.
I understand.
39.
You just took your time by giving up the player's card. That's all.
Whatever.
He gave it up.
Anyway, they asked him, is there anything that you want to know about Jasmine? Mm-hmm. And he asked, is she a good communicator?
Yes. I mean, just want to know, hey, and when we have discussions.
Everybody has some crickets going.
Hesitated. I mean, it was like a sudden...
Wait, one sister was like, let me go get a drink on that one.
Not the most appropriate response to a question that you ask about the foundation of just about any relationship. Is she a good communicator? Girlfriend went and got a drink.
Yeah, little scary there. Ooh. Little red flag. And Jasmine, in talking to his mother and cousin, said, I can be stubborn, and maybe that has, contributed to the demise of some of her other relationships.
Okay. Now, sidebar. Mm-hmm. Man's train of thought. Women often have difficulty communicating with one another, even if you're family. So
that women have difficulty communicating with one another?
Well, what I'm saying is that y'all can be toward each other. Y'all can be very blatant in how you feel in your expression and the manner in which you talk and discuss and whatnot. And I feel that that's no different in families, even more so in families, because you feel like you can be more as direct as you want to be with family. Mm-hmm. So I'm just wondering if, girlfriend had to go get a drink, they just don't communicate well together. So I just kind of take it with a grain of salt.
Their biggest thing was she doesn't like confrontation.
Okay.
And that, so she could kind of clam up. She can, choose not to have too much to say in times of conflict.
Okay. Now, but and again, if that's the situation, that's what you kind of say, as opposed to, I got to go get a drink.
Well,
So you think that there's more to that?
But see, it wasn't just the one sister said that, but all the sisters,
for one reason or another, whatever their reasons were,
did not behave as though communication
was her strong point.
Thank you.
I got you.
Period.
Okay.
Whatever that looks like. So, and cousin wasn't swayed, because cousin was like, you know what? She's a pageant pro. Which means she's used to answering questions. So she has an answer for everything, and I'm not buying it.
Yeah, a prepared answer, so to speak.
Yeah. So,
to me, that's
we'll see what happens.
I'm mixed there on their communication styles. I mean, how can you not be a communicator and be a pageant queen? And then how can you communicate so well and have difficulty communicating? And it might just be that aspect of just not being confrontational.
Or there are people who can communicate well in their jobs, but on an interpersonal level, of an intimate level, they're not so good.
We just got deep.
So,
I mean, it's true.
There you go.
And it's true. Okay.
Okay. Shall we move on?
Yes.
Dominique and McKinley.
Whatever his name is.
Anyway, so all up until she actually got ready to walk down the aisle. She was, I'm good. Man. I ain't nervous. This is great. And then the bottom fell out of her stomach.
Mom ready to walk her down. You ready?
And they both crying. Yeah. So, And then, McKinley was, saying that he was very nervous about the attraction, which everybody
of course.
is
you don't know what
nervous
this person looks like
about the attraction, whether he's going to be attracted to her, whether she's going to be attracted to him. But it all worked out fine. And
it's the attraction part.
Yeah. And I liked how they showed him, because they didn't show this for a lot of the guys that apparently did it, where they introduced themselves to the other family when they walked in. So there were so many of them that didn't show them doing that.
They didn't. And you kind of assumed that they were sitting up there quiet, mom.
Yeah, like they didn't do it.
No personality, or not being personable to your audience.
Right, right.
Known or unknown.
Right. But they did show him doing that. And so when Dominique talked to his mom and sister, because they came up to talk to her during the reception, and mom kind of let her know that she was not really in favor of this way of finding a spouse.
Even tried to bribe him.
Yeah. Well, we found that out in the after party, right? Yeah. Mom tried to bribe him not to do it with $50,000.
But it dawned on me that's what they're getting paid anyway. So.
Well.
I'll pay you that if you don't do it.
Yeah, so. But the point is, she had it to offer.
Well, hey.
Anyway.
401k, second mortgage, whatever. She's just looking out for her son.
But so mom, wasn't too thrilled, and she let Dominique know that, you know. But apparently for Dominique and Dominique's mom, when she went to talk to McKinley, concerned about how they felt about, the racial aspect. Yeah. That, Dominique is biracial. And, mom asked McKinley, is that an issue? Is that going to be a problem with the family? And
he indicated no.
And Dominique saying to the mom, I just want to make sure that I'm going to be accepted for who I am. And mom's initial look did not look like she was very accepting.
Yeah, mom had no qualms about expressing herself through her aura. Yeah. That she was pro-son and what he was.
And that's really what it was. Yeah. And he clarified in the after party that no, she doesn't have an issue with race.
Right. And he even indicated again afterwards that he's dated mostly white and Latino women, and he has dated black women in the past. So, and him being 34, he's got his history. So
now that's where his face kind of fell, though.
Yeah.
When after they got married and they were talking to each other.
I'm 34. How old are you?
I'm 25. And his face was like, whoop.
You said, what?
Okay, then. Because he's had experience with dating younger girls, and women. It hasn't gone well. Yeah. And so, that made his face fall a little bit. But everybody keeps saying how mature she is and how exactly. So they're suggesting that that won't be an issue, that she's mature enough to handle an older man, because that's what she likes to date anyway. Gina and Clint. Al already feels some kind of way about Clint. Yeah, tell us about it.
My From week 1 to week 2, I've already started to flip. And it's because it's almost the same reason. You look at an older sage couple where game playing and all of that is pretty much over. It's just, I'm really about committed to, who I want to settle down with. Now again, this is at the wedding where this is your first encounter. You're discussing anything and everything, and there's no balance, there's no imbalance. You're just kind of wide open, so there's no format that you're following. Gina's expressing where she's at. He's talked briefly about him sailing around the world and yada, yada, yada. She's talking about her business that she's pouring herself into. Matter of fact, she's in the middle of a major transition into her own brick and mortar and so on. So, you know, and that's detail, especially if you're a business owner. And in his mind, it's almost like to me, and this is just me being me. I don't profess to be anything in particular, but looking in his eyes as he was listening to her, he was like just short of tuning her out. I mean, and I go kind of far with that, but it was like, because he even said it at one point in time. He was wondering when she was going to stop talking about business.
Yeah, about
work.
Know.
But at that point in time in your life, I mean, you are about what you're about, especially if you're a business owner. So
why did that rub you the wrong way?
Because it was like, and I don't know, maybe it was just him wanting to be playtime. It wanted to be casual, comfortable, you know, superficial, so to speak. But again, the game plan is over. Okay, who are you? What are you about? What you doing? I mean, we already married. I mean, family's here. This is a little light party, getting to know you. If we was at a bar, it'd be the same situation. You know, we talk, we're bantering, we're communicating with one another. And for him to almost feel like he wished, because I said to myself, I said, well, if you're concerned about the only thing that she's talking about, you can change the subject, you know, and say, hey, well, when you have a break, where would you like your next vacation to be? You know, he's a sailor. He can sail around the world. He's got his own boat. Hey, enough about business. Where would you like to take a break when you've got all your ducks in a row and, you know, you're set and you need some downtime? Where would you want to go? Hey, change the course of the conversation. Don't feel like you're kind of stuck there and then you have a certain resentment about what you're allowing to take place. So I get the feeling that he has a certain ego that he might not be able to get past.
So that's the true thing.
Yeah.
That he has quite a bit of ego. Well, at 40, as I was saying, at 40, you can be pretty set in your ways.
I understand that.
And if you're not flexible, if you're not adaptable, then that will cause issues. Well, now, at first we thought that I thought they were the best match couple.
Yeah, I really did.
Because they are mature.
Yeah.
And they are finished with game playing. True. They should be, you know.
They're both professionals.
Yeah.
You know, they find themselves living in the same building. You know, so it's so many similarities, you know, and then suddenly personalities get in the way, you know.
Well, we have a lot to see.
Yeah.
You know, to make that to talk about.
Because I'm rooting for them. I really am, because I think that they can be fun together. I think they can be, you know, they already are powerful in their own right. So as a couple, I think that would just be at another stratus, at another level.
Mm-hmm. Well, Nicole and Chris, the talkers, the talkers, discovered that they both like to talk, and they both said that to the camera, that they discovered that they both like to talk. So but in talking to her dad, Chris was saying that part of being a good communicator is not just talking but listening as well. Right. And that was good to hear, because that is true.
Very true.
Most people who like to talk a lot don't listen. And so for him to, you know, say, I know that it's just as important to be a good listener, was a great thing. So Dad wanted to know if he was a criminal, if he was a murderer, if he was a thief. No, I'm just kidding. But he was kind of saying some of those things.
Jury's out with Dad.
You know, and you know, and he said what we know, that, okay, now everybody feels great. The honeymoon is going to be wonderful. You're going to come back to life, and it's going to get hard. Are you willing to put in the work when life gets hard? And we know that once they move into their apartment and they both go back to work and they got to walk them dogs and all that kind of stuff, because they have dogs too. He has two. Chris has two.
Yeah.
So then it gets, that's where the rubber meets the road, right? So dad is like, are you going to be able to handle that? Of course, he's, saying absolutely. Mm-hmm. She has already gotten the vibe that he's really, really nice. Like too nice. And she wants to make sure
that it's not a facade.
No, that she doesn't take advantage of it.
Yeah.
That she lets him, that she doesn't take him for granted.
Right. And that she shows her appreciation in his niceness.
But she's very nervous because everything feels so good.
Yeah.
And I can understand that.
She's happy. She's giddy.
I mean, the two of them are just very kissy. They were very kissy. Mm-hmm. Kissy. Yeah. And, that's nice that they got that comfort level with each other already. So he carried her into the room, and he was the only one that they showed doing that. Mm-hmm. So we'll see where that goes. Our last couple, Kirsten. Say it right.
Kirsten.
And Shaq. Mm-hmm. Well, it looks like Kirsten was loosening up a bit. She had her expectations that were not met by his bald head. Mm-hmm. But she seemed to be opening up to enjoying his other qualities. Because they looked like they could have fun together. They were having fun together at the reception. So she's trying to put some of her pickiness aside. Mm-hmm. And he talked with her bridesmaids who already had him on the grill. And one of them was like, and we're not ready. We're not done yet. We're going to grill him like a
barbecue ribs. So
they weren't swayed by his words, as they said. We're not all in. We're watching you, And of course, that's everybody's family and friends.
It's expected. That's expected. They're looking out for their friends' better interests.
And he kind of appreciated that.
I can definitely relate to that.
Yes, you could.
I met Dad, and then I met her other 4 fathers. 2 younger, 2 older. She calls them brothers.
So, and that's to be expected. So hopefully, she will begin to kind of loosen up her expectation.
I believe she will because I think
and enjoy the qualities that he has.
Right, as a whole person. I mean, now my man got a little loose during the reception.
Right, when he was doing the garter,
lap dancing and all of that. And mom was grinning, and I'm wondering what she was really feeling about her daughter. But I mean, she enjoyed it. At least it looked like she enjoyed it. So, we shall see.
And of course, the question on everyone's mind, the bridesmaids and the groomsmen, are you going to hit it tonight? Yeah. And I think everybody, all the guys are like,
hey, it's not up to me.
Right. And even, a few of them said that's not even on the table for right now because we want to get to know each other. Yeah. Not have sex, not to build the relationship on sex, and just want to get to know her. So we'll see.
Good answer.
Yeah. Well, so as we know, every season there is 1 or 2 who said they haven't had sex and they hit it immediately. Yeah. So that's just to be expected. But everybody was willing to not even consider that.
Yeah. Which is a good thing. I mean, I think that's respectable on all levels.
Right. So there we are. There is our recap for this week. And we know that next week they're going to start going to the honeymoon. And getting to know each other more. Now, quick question for you guys. We said at the end of last season that we were considering creating a Patreon group, which is a subscriber site to to have a more in-depth discussion on issues. Yeah. So the question is, would you guys like that? We would take one of the issues per week that seems to be
a common
thread through everybody. We would talk more in depth about our own experience with that particular issue, you know, how we've handled it, what we've done differently, have some guest experts to come on and talk about that issue as well from an expert
or even how we prevent it from going through certain things.
Right. Offering, you know, some games and some, you know, insight. Books and other resources that, you know, you could benefit from. We would have some merchandise that you might be interested in buying. We would also have probably some Zoom get-togethers where you guys could get on a Zoom call with us and actually have a discussion. So just, you know, things like that. And if you would be interested in doing a deeper dive into some of these issues and having some other forms of content that we would provide for you, just let us know in the comments. Yes, I think that would be great, or I would like to see that, or and then, you know, tell us some of the topics you'd like us to talk about. And that way, you know, we're willing to share our personal experiences with a lot of the issues that we talk about. And we would even, I didn't bring our book, but we would even bring in some actual tips and talk a little deeper about some of the tips that are in our book that we start using as we get the issue. So bottom line, let us know if you'd be interested in subscribing to such a site so that you can get extra content as it relates to the issues we see on Married at First Sight. All right. So until then, like us, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, tell other folks about us, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, we want you to love yourselves
and one another.
Bye.
Peace.